Hey everyone, we got some great news for Lumen Technologies stock investors as the company announced a $5 billion deal with the potential for another $7 billion deal to come afterwards. So I'm going to discuss the details of that deal and what it could mean for Lumen Technologies stock investors. So let's take a look. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. So on August 5th, Lumen Technologies announced that it has secured a $5 billion in new business driven by major demand for connectivity fueled by artificial intelligence. Large companies across industry sectors are seeking to secure fiber capacity quickly as the resource becomes increasingly valuable and potentially limited due to the booming AI needs. In addition to the existing deal, Lumen is in active discussions with customers to secure another $7 billion deal to meet the increased customer demand. So that's great news, certainly for Lumen Technologies stock investors. And unsurprisingly, on the back of that news, Lumen Technologies stock price absolutely exploded, as you can see here. It had been down year to date meaningfully, but following that update, the stock price soared from less than $1 per share all the way up over $6 per share before giving up some of those gains, and it's now trading at $4.74 per share. But what does this mean for Lumen Technologies investors? And does this make the stock a buy? Let's answer that question as well. So in its latest quarterly update on August 6th, Lumen Technologies said that it's in a unique position to further capitalize on demand for customized, private, and secure networks, which is a tailwind generated by the need for high bandwidth infrastructure to support AI ventures. The rising demand for AI is requiring greater connectivity between data centers, and Lumen's world-class fiber network and forward-thinking digital services are positioning them to help grow the AI wave. Now, the company had been going through some headwinds up until that point. It reported a net loss of over $8.7 billion in the second quarter of 2023, which included a non-cash goodwill impairment charge of nearly $8.8 billion. Still, in its latest quarter, the company reported cash flow from operations of $511 million in Q2. Second quarter revenue fell to $3.268 billion, down from $3.661 billion in the same quarter the prior year. So before these announcements, the company's growth was going backwards. It was losing revenue, not gaining revenue. Now, these deals, once they become incorporated and once Lumen begins delivering, should return the company to growth, although there are existing headwinds that have brought the company back, and that's one of the reasons why the company had to take an $8.8 billion impairment charge in Q2 of last year. Looking ahead, the company has downgraded its expectations for 2024. The company updated its full year 2024 financial outlook with the details below. So it lowered the adjusted EBITDA outlook to a range of $3.9 to $4 billion. That was down from a midpoint of $4.2 billion previously. It updated the free cash flow outlook to $1.1 billion, up from a previous outlook of just $200 million. And one of the reasons for that free cash flow upgrade could be when they signed that deal, the $5 billion deal, they're going to get cash payments for that arrangement this year. So that was not previously included. They included that, and now they're going to get a cash inflow for that deal. It also includes an approximately $700 million tax refund, which they received during the first quarter of 2024. And that's in relation to the impairment they got last year. So the bigger part of that free cash flow update is the tax refund that they received in the first quarter of 2024. They're also increasing their capital expenditure outlook to $3.2 billion. This was up from $2.8 billion before, and that's understandable, right? When you sign a big new deal, you're going to have to spend more to make sure you can meet that new deal. And this is an update to the previous forecast of roughly 400 million in CapEx to make sure that they can fulfill on the new deal and the increasing demand for its products and services. Looking back over the last decade, Lumen Technologies had done a good job increasing their operating profit margin from a little over 12% in 2015 up close to 20% before experiencing a big drawdown, and now the operating profit margin in the trailing 12 months was just 3.05%. Similar story with the cash flow from operations to sales. The company had been improving this metric from a little under 30% up over 35% before dipping down closer to double digits and recently recovering up to 23.9%. Now, the Wall Street analysts that are following Lumen Technologies stock, they expect the company's earnings per share will decline by 23.6% per year over the next 5 years. The analysts that are following Lumen Technologies stock are not optimistic about its prospects over the next 5 years, even though the company is benefiting from that AI tailwind that management was discussing earlier. Following the significant stock price increase, Lumen Technologies' forward price to earnings ratio is at 30.12. And given the company's prospects over the near term and Wall Street's expectations for longer term, Lumen Technologies' forward PE ratio seems a bit overstretched at the moment. The enthusiasm surrounding these big deals seems to have lifted the valuation to higher and higher levels. However, I think it's still early to determine, and it's still early for investors to jump in and capitalize on this investment. So if I was to answer if Lumen Technologies stock is a buy, hold, or a sell, I would say the stock is closer to a hold. While this latest development was great news for Lumen Technologies stock investors, you saw that initial stock price spike following those announcements. I don't know if it's time for newer investors to come and jump on board. I think after that stock price spike, now would be a good time for newer investors to wait and digest new information coming from the company, let things settle down before you decide to make a commitment to Lumen Technologies for the longer term. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.